You wrote this week that Anthony Albanese's transformation into Deputy Sheriff John Howard is complete. What did you mean by that?
People with longer memories will recall that John Howard half struggled with the suggestion that he might have been the Deputy Sheriff of the United States. So the suggestion was that he was so loyal to the United States that effectively Australia was an agent of the United States and its foreign policy and military policy in this region. And it's hard to see much of a difference between John Howard and Anthony Albanese in that regard. Australia is much more so than it was under John Howard, a base for US military activities aimed at China. We're a supply dump for US military supplies for a war with China. We're becoming a submarine base for them. We spent a lot of money building up RAAF Tyndall in the Northern Territory to be a B-52 bomber base. We have training for Marines here. All of these activities are really with one idea in mind, and that is fighting China. Under Anthony Albanese, we've become far more integrated into the US military machine than under John Howard, with the principal goal of fighting a war against a key power in our own region, which really does make us much more of a deputy sheriff, I think, now than under John Howard. Even if the kinds of rhetoric and rationale that we're seeing from Anthony Albanese are kind of a poor photocopy of what we heard from John Howard, there was a pretense back during the lead up to the Iraq war that international law mattered. Now, except for the Albanese government itself, we're all agreed and the opposition agrees international law and the so-called rules-based international order is a thing of the past.
So why was Anthony Albanese so quick to get behind America's strikes this week, given that there is a general consensus that it breaches international law?
I think that Anthony Albanese's strategy with Trump is keep your head down. Don't say anything that might upset the Mad King in Washington. Anthony Albanese seems to be absolutely terrified of the idea that Donald Trump might say something bad about him. Anthony Albanese preemptively almost leaps to do whatever Donald Trump really would like. And I think that's one of the reasons why he was so quick to support what the US and Israel were doing to Iran. We've got a media environment which is very pro-US, particularly led by News Corp, which is an American corporation. And Albanese, of course, would prefer not to be criticised by the media for not being sufficiently pro-US. I mean, he's spent a lot of last year being sort of criticised by the media for not basically grovelling to Trump. I'm sure that forms part of his political calculations about how quickly and how high he should jump when the Americans say jump.